What's up, everybody? T-Wolves2016 here, and I know I technically uploaded a video earlier today, but it was supposed to be published a couple days ago. It was supposed to be published on Tuesday, and that didn't end up working out. Either way, I'm here now. I'm making a video, and I'm here to do something I don't normally do. I'm here to comment on rumors. And I just think they are predominant rumors, and I think I can lead this into something else I've been wanting to talk about for a while. So, the rumor. First off, the rumor. The rumor broke earlier today that Erik Karlsson officially requested a trade from the Ottawa Senators. Now, again, these are rumors. We do not have any credible sources telling us either that this is or that this is not the case. That being said, you do have to take this with a grain of salt, but this did get me thinking. If the Senators were willing to trade Erik Karlsson, what would the return be? But that's not what this video will be about. It's who could use an Erik Karlsson on his team. Now, the most blatant answer is anyone. Everyone can use an Erik Karlsson on their team. Tampa Bay can use an Erik Karlsson and make their defense even more deadly. Nashville can add Erik Karlsson and then part ways with one of their top four and still have a stud top four. That being said, I think there are a few teams in my mind who I think could really benefit from having Erik Karlsson join their squad. I'm going to start first with another rumored squad and go with the Las Vegas Golden Knights. Earlier in the season, it was rumored that the Las Vegas Golden Knights were trying to trade for Erik Karlsson. And as the hockey guy said, this may have been as little as Vegas contacting them, asking them, what do you want for Karlsson? And that being the end of the conversation. That being said, I think Karlsson on their line, on their top pairing, would make a whole lot of sense. And here's why. The reason I believe Karlsson working on their top line would work is Vegas doesn't necessarily have a top defenseman. A solid top, they have a lot of very good defensemen in Shea Theodore, Nate Schmidt, Colin Miller, but they don't have any what I would consider top two defensemen. And having Karlsson there as a staple at 27 years old, I believe, 27 or 28, having him there at a young age could help put this Knights team over that hump. Because if we remember correctly, defense was an issue in the Stanley Cup Finals. It also came down to Marc-Andre Fleury, losing whatever he had going for him at the beginning. It kind of reminds me of a Pekka Rinne from last year. It just reminds me of a Pekka Rinne from last year where he did amazing up until the finals, and then in the finals he laid a brick. So Marc-Andre Fleury now knows how that feels like. Another team that I think could really use Karlsson, and this is a bit biased because this is my favorite team, but are the Chicago Blackhawks. And here's why. Their defensive core is not getting any younger. And this season showed that if you rely solely on defense, you're not going to win a whole lot of games. You're going to miss the playoffs after 9 straight bursts. And just, I think Karlsson could be a dominant player, especially with the great coaching of Joel Quenneville and the GM skills of Stan Bowman. I believe all this could come together and we could get Karlsson. Now, one reason this might not work is because, like the jersey I'm wearing, the Islanders still have to deal with the John Tavares issue of whether or not John Tavares is going to sign. That being said, it has been rumored that Chicago might have an interest in acquiring Tavares. And I think that would make a lot of sense. I think that would give you a solid center core with him, Taves, and DeBrincat as your top 3 centers. I do believe after this season, Taves, I think a lot of people are saying Taves is getting a little bit more money than he's probably worth after the season he's had. And as a Hawks fan, I do have to agree with that after the season he's had, I can't really justify the money he's currently making with the performance he had last season. And I think John Tavares would fit right there on that top line. Then you could have Tavares there, and then you could have Taves playing on the second line with Kane and probably someone, and definitely someone on the left wing. I'm not really sure who would play on the left wing yet. But either way, a Erik Karlsson or a John Tavares would definitely make the Hawks squad a lot better, because as Stan Bowman said last year when Chicago got swept out of the playoffs by Nashville, that is unacceptable. Missing the playoffs is even more unacceptable for a franchise like the Hawks, who have who have made it a tradition of excellence. That being said, sorry, they are showing an AHL game on the TV, and I'm, kind of paying attention to it. They're showing the Mike Sullivan, I believe, or the coach of the Penguins. Either way, another team that I think could really use. Another team that I think could really use an Erik Karlsson is the Detroit Red Wings, and here's why. The Detroit Red Wings are locked into a bunch of long contracts that just are not good. They're terrible contracts. Some of them are absolute albatrosses. They're just horrible contracts, and they're locked in for a while, and a buyout penalty would just cost a lot of money. I think adding a young defenseman to that group would definitely make Detroit competitive again, but it also give them something to build a defensive core around, because that's what Karlsson is. Karlsson's a player you can build a defensive core around, and still, and you'd still have a very solid defenseman. While staying in the Eastern Conference, another team that could definitely use Erik Karlsson would be the team that is most likely going to get Rasmus Dahlin, Buffalo. The Buffalo Sabres could use Erik Karlsson because not only would that give them then Ristolainen, Dahlin, and Karlsson, but Karlsson and Dahlin, Karlsson has spoke very highly of Dahlin, and Dahlin has even admitted he's admitted that he likes hearing people talk good about him, because who doesn't like hearing people say good things about you? But Erik Karlsson has been one of the people who has been very vocal about how he thinks Dahlin is much better than he was at when Karlsson was that age, and just the high praises. I think that'd be really cool for Dahlin to get the mentorship from Erik Karlsson, who has made himself into a bit of a veteran on his squad, and definitely the top defenseman. And another team, going back to the Western Conference, are the St. Louis Blues. The St. Louis Blues could really use him because outside of Parayko and Pietrangelo, and I'll probably get crapped on from Blues fans, but I don't really see a whole lot of else outside of those top two that I would necessarily consider absolute solid defensemen. Now, they have good defensemen, don't get me wrong, but I just don't think they have a bunch of... I don't think they have a lot of great defensemen. I think adding Erik Karlsson to that could give you a Karlsson-Pietrangelo top pairing, and then give Parayko some second pairing time with maybe like a Joel Edmondson, and then your bottom pair can just be a couple people who are coming up. But then you have Pietrangelo and Karlsson there for the veteran leadership to help a young defensive core grow. Another team, going back to the Eastern Conference, that could really use him, that could really use a defenseman, is the New York Rangers. Now, the New York Rangers have Brady Shea, but they did trade away Ryan McDonough, who is their captain, and I think they could definitely bring in an Erik Karlsson to replace him. Erik Karlsson, I do believe, is younger than Ryan McDonough, and therefore would just be essentially a replacement for the player that you traded away, and would give you a younger defenseman to build a defensive core around. I know I've been saying that a lot, but I just think Erik Karlsson is good enough to build a defensive core around. You could put Erik Karlsson there and you could build a defensive core around him, and he would be a great person to build that around. He has the veteran leadership. He knows what it's like to lead a team. He's been the captain of the Senators for a few years now. Now, those are the teams that I believe could definitely use a defenseman. There are probably a bunch of I could probably list off reasons for all 31 teams to have Erik Karlsson join their team, but those are the teams I feel like could benefit most from getting Erik Karlsson. Now, I do want to say one thing. The harassment rumors I will not be getting into, just because that's a touchy subject. And I know other hockey YouTubers have gotten into it. I personally do not want to get into it. At least not while it's all speculation, which I guess kind of undermines the point of this video, because the point of this video was founded on speculation. But this is a little bit more serious. What's going on with Karlsson and Hoffman is definitely more serious than Hoffman or Karlsson getting traded or requesting a trade or whatever. I have heard that the Ottawa Senators are open to trading Hoffman. I don't really think they're going to find anyone who really wants Hoffman, because let's be honest, with what's been said about Hoffman's girlfriend and Hoffman standing up for his girlfriend, which is, the good thing, which is what a good boyfriend would do, but also, that's not somebody who you would want in a locker room. No one would want to have that in their locker room. But then again, that's as much as I'm going to go into it. That's not, I'm not here to talk about that drama, because that's essentially what it is. But now don't take me saying that it's drama as me brushing it off as unimportant. It is horrible. If what is being said is true, those are horrible things to tell another human being. I don't care, what stance you're given. I don't care what you've been through. If what's being said, if what Erik Karlsson's wife is saying Mike Hoffman's girlfriend said is true, that's horrible. There's no justifying what she said in any means. And that just, that if that is true, then if what she's saying is true, then that proves that person is a terrible human being. Because you shouldn't be able to say those kind of things, especially to people who have been through as much as the Karlssons have, with Erik losing a son, or losing a kid, and my heart goes out to him and his family. I've never personally experienced something like that, but I can imagine it's horrible. I can't really imagine what it's like, but I can imagine it's just horrible, and it's gut-wrenching. Either way, kind of lighten the mood up a little bit. I think Erik Karlsson getting traded would be a little bit better for Ottawa, because obviously Ottawa would have to give up Karlsson, but what they could get in return could definitely be used to help revitalize the franchise, as is not very, it is the worst kept secret in the NHL. Eugene Melnyk is not liked very highly by any of his players, and Daniel Alfredsson has actively spoken out against Eugene Melnyk, and Alfredsson and Karlsson are good friends, which is what I believe would lead Karlsson to not be happy in Ottawa. I think he could be much happier and much more successful if he were to join another club with an owner that isn't entrenched in as much controversy as Eugene Melnyk, and getting out of that city, regardless of whether or not what happened with the drama is true or not. I think would give him a fresh start, kind of give him a fresh leg, and give him a revitalized, mentality, and then he can really go out and play superstar level hockey like we all know he's capable of doing. That being said, that will wrap up this video. I hope you all have a great evening, morning, dusk on, whenever you are watching this. I will try to stay up with some of the news. I have stayed up with this news. I did not report on the Erik Karlsson or the Oliver Ekman-Larsson. agreeing to a deal, because from what I understand, that is just a verbal agreement and there is no actual in-contract writing. I only brought this video up because I wanted to, it's a topic I had been juggling about doing, and I just kind of wrote out what teams could really use a defenseman. That being said, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and stay tuned for new content. Thanks for watching. Peace.